Beautiful. So when you guys populate here, you guys can actually make it so that your user roles for your salespeople start on this screen. It makes it so it's less confusing and that they're always starting on the same screen every single day here. Now, when you get into Althea, whether you're creating any sort of document, it's an order, it's a PO, it's an item, you're usually always going to want to go to your top left corner and hit create invoice. Those are going to be those little entities there, top left hand corner. It's either going to say new, creates, something along those lines. Whenever you're creating a new document, you guys can go into that top left corner. Next here, another big thing that is going to be really important for not only you, but your salespeople to know is that your best friend within Althea is going to be what I'm going to call the context menu. So I'm going to zoom in so everybody can see. These three vertical dots here is called the context menu. You'll hear me kind of say that throughout our training here. That is going to be your best friend within Althea. If you're ever stuck and you don't remember the next step, usually we're going to find it in that context menu. So here you'll see within this menu, once I click it, I have different options here. So this is one with an invoice that is done. You can see how many options that you guys can potentially have for your people. So now some of these are user role based. So just note that some of these won't look like for everybody on your screen here. But if you are in an admin user role, if you are in a user role that your implementation specialist has created for you, you will have every single one of these options. Here, you could do a lot of things. You can issue a sales return. You can change your customer from your invoice right here. Now, the reason that this context menu is very important is because you can do a lot of things that help you to not modify your invoice. What's nice about that is that it just keeps your books cleaner. I'm out here looking out for your accountants out here, making sure that everything stays as clean as possible. I know I'm going to go ahead and kind of mute people as we continue, just so we don't hear everybody in the background, right? Okay, beautiful. So there is your invoice. I'm going to go ahead and create one for us. So I'm going to go into my top left-hand corner and hit create invoice. Now, a couple things for you is that you can actually backdate this if you need to, and you can change the invoice number as you want to. So if we look in the top left-hand corner, you're going to see that I created a new invoice because it tells me in the top left-hand corner, I'm in my new invoice screen. You notice here in this account that I have the prefix AA set, and then you'll see I00195. If I'm creating an order, that I turns into an O. That makes it so that you know if you're creating an invoice or an order. So if I go into this top right-hand corner and hit change, that's going to allow me to backdate this. It's also going to allow me to get that invoice number in here. Sorry, I'm hearing myself echo. Okay, so you can change this. You can even change the time if you guys know your invoice number here. Next, if you guys have multiple business locations, you can actually make it so that your employees only show up in the business location that they're assigned to. I have a lot of people say that they make sales in both locations or all three. Then you guys can make it so that they're defaulted to one, but they're able to click in and change this. Note here that you'll see these little pencils. That means that you guys can change this field in any sort of way. Now, I can either change it by clicking the pencil or by just clicking into these things. One thing that you'll also see here throughout my system is that a lot of my search bars have this little arrow, this little 3 horizontal dots, and this X. So that is really important in my system. It's kind of a little bit of basics for you. The arrow makes it known that I have a drop-down menu. And this little menu here in the middle is called our browse button. What's nice about the browse button is that it'll pull up any sort of manager that has this top left-hand indication, right? So for business locations on my top left-hand side, if I hit my browse button, it's going to pull up my business location manager. It's going to do this for any single thing that has a little browse button. So my customers, it's going to bring up my customer manager. My items, it's going to bring up my item manager. So those are just a few little fun little buttons you hear throughout Althea. Next thing you'll see, so I can choose my business location. Maybe I want to go to Althea Appliance. Maybe I want to go to Althea Showroom. You're going to also see cash register. Now, our system will not let you move on without a cash register, so it assigns one for you. You can actually assign cash registers to different people here, right? So I'm signed under reports designer, but if reports designer had a defaulted cash register, it would go to a different one. However, that being said, if it's just no one has a default cash register assigned to them, it's going to automatically choose my manager's drawer, which is defaulted by your location here. Next, we have a due date. If we go to this due date on the side, that is the due date of this document in the sense of when do you think all the items for this on this order is going to populate for your customer, right? So when are they going to have it in their hands? Maybe it's going to be, every item will be in their hands December 22nd. Now, this due date you can also leave. If I wanted to leave it as the 13th, that's totally fine. I'm going to schedule these on the calendar for delivery, and all those due dates will change item by item depending on where I scheduled them on the calendar. So, just some fun facts there for you. Note, okay, we've gotten to our customer. Our customer is a smart field. So, if I start typing in my name, you'll see that I'm in this system. So, I populate. Now, if I start typing in and like my last name, you'll notice that my last name doesn't populate. There isn't a Camryn Nyholt in my system. So that is easily rectified here. So I can see, okay, there's no Camryn Nyholt in my system. I'm going to hit this little X, and then you see this little plus sign populates. The plus sign makes it so that I can add a customer like that without clicking 2 extra buttons, right? So maybe I wanted to come in here and type in, I'm trying to think of this account has celebrities in it, so I'm trying to think of who's in here and who's not. But like I think Ariana Grande is not in here, so I will put her in here. So I can see that. I'm going to hit that little X, and I'm going to hit this plus button. That plus button is going to populate my new customer field here. Creating a new customer is fairly simple depending on what settings that you have on. I have 3 settings within my customers to make things mandatory. I also have 2 settings to make sure that you don't create duplicate customers. Now I'll explain those now. So the things that I can make mandatory for your salespeople, I can make zip codes, I can make emails, and I can make phone numbers mandatory. What essentially that means is that if I go in here and I'm going to type in Ariana Grande in here, great, I have her name. I can make her be a company if I need to. If not, that's totally fine. I can make this customer tax exempt by simply hitting this little plus button and putting the exempted tax on here. I'm not going to do that for Ariana, but I could do that as well. Now, any other information, unless setting provides, I can go ahead and like not fill out if I don't want to, right? So I can simply just put Ariana Grande's name, have that customer little asterisk there, and go from there. You'll note also within my system, what's system based is that these little red asterisks, if you can see them, mean that it's a mandatory field. That just means that you need to have that field filled out in order to continue. Now, when things are setting based, like the phone number or the email, that will not populate a little red asterisk. However, it will populate a notification that says that you can't move forward without filling in the required fields. Then it'll highlight those fields for you. So for instance, if I went and I deleted this customer number here and I hit create, it's going to pop up this message that says, please fill in all required fields. Now, for this customer number specifically, it's telling me the customer number. However, for the phone, it'll just highlight these little things for you. So I'm going to go ahead and put her customer number back. I don't even remember if that one's it, but we'll just go ahead and put a random one there and do that there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and just put a fake email so that we can see where that populates in my screen here. Sorry, I'm letting people in on the side. Email.com. Great. And then I'm going to put a random phone number in here. Perfect. Email, phone number. Now, one thing that you might not see in your accounts, but it is in this particular account, is called a smart address finder. Now, your implementation specialist should have shown you this. If not, please ask them and they will. So this smart address finder just makes it super simple for me to start typing in an address, and then it populates from Google the addresses below. So my system's a little slow because I'm sharing my screen, but you'll see here that it just starts populating addresses. I can click this one and it'll autofill for me. Now, you will not have this in your account unless you have that Google API. Please talk to your implementation specialist or send us an email at contact, and we'll talk you through that process if you would like it. And it's not an extra charge to put it in your system, but Google APIs do charge for the amount of times that you use it. So just a heads up on that. I digress. I'll continue. So that's something nice. We want to fill in a billing address. Now, if for some reason Ariana Grande is a apartment building, you're going to put the apartment building, you're going to make it a company, and then you're going to put all the different shipping addresses under shipping addresses. This, you can go ahead and hit add. This is not just for apartment buildings. Now, maybe Ariana wants her mom to be shipped something. I can go ahead and ship that in there, right? So I can go ahead and maybe her mom's name is Pearl Grande. and I'm going to ship it to Pearl. I'm going to go ahead and put Pearl's address in here. We're going to pick a Redmond address. And now you'll just autofill that. I can copy from billing address if it is an apartment building to make this a little bit simpler so we don't have to type all this stuff in. And I could just change that apartment number if that is the way you guys would like to go. So once I put this in, I can also put Pearl's phone number in here just in case I need to. And I'm also going to put Pearl's email. Perfect. Now, another thing that you'll see throughout my system is this is active button. You'll see this through products, through.
Not on there that we're not going to be able to.
Is that a question or? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and keep going for me. So you could put the is active button. I lost track, but it's for products, for warehouses. You'll see it throughout my system. Essentially, that just means that we're going to keep the data, and is active means it's going to populate for you. Otherwise, if you click unactive, then you'll go ahead and do it. You have to change it to business to put an apartment. No, you do not have to change it to a business. I'm just saying that if it is a business, you want to make sure that it is a company first. Otherwise, you don't have to put an apartment number in there. You could address line 2 is whether it's a business or not is going to populate for you. So is active. Great. I'm going to go ahead and hit add here. It's going to add Pearl Grande to that shipping address here. You'll just notate, Sean, I believe you're the one who asked this question, that it's just kind of nice. You'll say is a company. It's just a notation. It doesn't make it any different. It's just more making sure your system knows that it's also a company there for you. So here, great. I can also add different contacts. So maybe Ariana wants to add her boyfriend in here. Then you could put her boyfriend's number in here also so that you guys can know that as well. And I'm just going to put a random email. Great. And then hit create. So I have my customer number in here. I have my email, my phone number. I have a billing address. I have a shipping address. Like I said, all of this is up to you on if you want it auto-filled or like if you want these fields mandatory, the zip code, the email, and the phone number. I can also add a different phone too. What we're thinking though is that that phone number is for Ariana unless you specify down here via contacts that it's for someone else. Now you'll notice this group, customer group, that is just a notation for you. So potentially if you guys want to group your customers within certain groups, that's totally fine. Like for instance, we have people who do it for military discounts or friends and family here. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and hit create. Oh, I already have this customer code. I'm just going to create a random one. Okay, perfect. I'm going to hit create here. And it's going to auto put Ariana Grande into my system. So once I hit that plus button, that's what it's already doing. I can use the billing address as shipping address by hitting this little button here, or I can actually pick within the shipping addresses. So maybe we're going from Pearl. So you'll see Pearl is that Redmond address and Ariana is that Kirkland address. Now you'll see also that this fake email went ahead and populated for Ariana here. And you could put a customer PO if you have one. If you don't have one, that's totally fine. Now you'll see here in the sandbox, I have a couple options on the side. Within your sandbox, you'll have email, sales, invoice to customer. Now, if you sign up for Podium or Twilio, you can get this send SMS as well. You'll just have to talk to your implementation specialists on if you guys want to text out of our system as well. So if you do decide to connect an email with our system, if you want, you can click this little box, email sales invoice after customer. Once this invoice is saved, it'll immediately send. Once I finish this, I'll also show you how to manually send it. Since these emails are not real, I'm going to go ahead and unclick that for me. And now, another thing that you'll see here is that dependent on your tax structure and how you do things, my system might look a little different from ones that you have. My system has what's called a delivery mode on it. Now, what that means is essentially we take the taxes and the zip codes of the counties and we actually make it autofill for you. So right now you'll notice that this Bellevue sales tax is because this AltheaSuite appliance is connected to that Bellevue sales tax. That's the one that I have for my particular store. But if I went in here and I said to change to delivered to that shipping address, note here that that sales tax automatically changed. Now, if this doesn't have anything to do with your business, you guys won't have to pick a delivery mode. You'll just have to pick your delivery mode within the little section here, and I'll explain that to you as well. But if you do want your taxes to auto change with depending on the county that you're delivering in, then you can do that. Notice here, if I hit pick up, it's going to change back to my Bellevue tax because taxes usually, from my experience, only are charged differently when they are delivered to a different address here for you. So if this is for your business, you're going to want to select your delivery mode this way. Now, there's my Bellevue invoice tax. There's 3 different options if you have a delivery mode. All items delivered with invoice. That means that the customer is going to take it with them today. So it's delivered to them when this invoice is saved. Next, you're going to see all items to be delivered to shipping address. That just means that you're going to deliver these. What this will also do is put it in your pending delivery queue. This will make it so that you guys have that little notation that you need it to be delivered. You also see here that all items will be picked up from the customer store. Not only does that change my tax, but that'll put it in my pending pickup queue. If you do not have the delivery mode option, these options are very similar. Your notations are just going to show up within your line items here. And I apologize for not having a visual representation, but I think I can describe it very well. On the left-hand side, depending on your grid customization, it's going to have a box that says delivered, a little circle that says DL, and a little circle that says PK. Same sort of process. Delivered, that little checkbox means that the customer is taking it with them as soon as you save this invoice. DL is going to put it in your pending delivery queue, and PK is going to put it in your pending pickup queue. Slightly different look, but same sort of process. This is only for those who want to change their sales invoice tax for the delivery. Now, a couple of things you'll also see here. Because I am logged in under Report Designer, that is the made by employee. I have plenty of customers that share users. So for instance, if they share users, I have a customer that has their employees set up as POS1 and POS2. So that is what shows up on their made by. Then they make this associated employee section here mandatory so that they know who exactly wrote up this thing. However, if you have plenty of users and everybody has their own user role, then you'll automatically know by this made by. Now, another thing that this associated little compartment here is used for is for commission. So we have people who split commission between their made by and associated. We also have people who, if they're sharing logins, that they make that associated employee mandatory. So that commission is calculated based on that. Now, your commission, you'll need to let your, if you guys do commission, you'll need to let your implementation specialist know so that we can create a report for you. We're going to ask you a ton of questions like, what fields do you guys use? What's your commission structure? We'll pop out a report for you and let you check that. Changes that need to be made, please let us know. Okay, perfect. Now, this is pretty important from what I'm explaining here right now. On the left-hand side, you'll see that it says SKU. This is for people who either know the exact SKU of the product that they have, or for people who are scanning things in. Now, if you create your own barcodes or you scan from your manufacturer barcodes, that's totally fine. You can click into this, you can scan your little gun, and it'll populate for you within this line item. Now, a lot of people don't use scanners. It's not necessary, at least in my opinion. It's just kind of convenient, right? Now, if you're not using a scanner, you can go ahead and start typing in SKUs on the right-hand side. You don't have to just type in SKUs. I can type in names of products too. So if I start typing in table, everything with the word table in it is going to populate for you. So that's something that you can do as well. So maybe, I want to sell this accent table. This is a setting within my account here that you'll see I have 0 stock. This doesn't populate for you unless you want it to. So I can either say yes, that I want to add it anyway, or no. If you would like this setting, please talk to your implementation specialist, but just know that this is just a setting for you. It's not something that we'll see on the reg. So I'm going to go ahead and hit yes here. It's going to add that accent table to my particular screen here. You're going to notice a couple things. First, you'll see that SKU. You'll see the name of the actual product you added. Now, if I want to come in here and they actually want 2 of these accent tables, it's going to pop up with that screen again. Then I could put the quantity as 2. This unit price is coming from your item definition. Now, what I mean by item definition, I'm going to go ahead and hit my browse button to populate my item manager. These are all your items within your system and the definition that that item has. So depending on your user roles and depending on your access, I can actually come in here and I could put accent table in here and search for that particular item. Now, this accent table, I can come in and modify this if I want to and see it. I'm going to go ahead and just view it for us. This is what I mean when I'm saying item definition. It's what we have set up for your items. So you'll see here that I have the SKU, I have my item name, and sorry, it's continuously loading. So I have my SKU, I have my item name, I could see what category it's into, and then you could see all the flags that are populated with it. So these flags are interesting and definitely fun. Not what my training is on for today, but definitely ask your implementation specialist on how these flags can help you work within your system. Next here, you're going to see that these are my sales price. So this sales price is going to be worked into from the item definition. So that is why that 209.96 is populating. Now, if you for some reason want to change the price of this item for only this document, great. Click into this Unum item price here, and we're going to make this actually $250 per item. So you could raise the price here. This is not going to change for next time when you put this accent table on here. It's just going to change the unit price for this one in particular. Now, the other thing that you can do is actually add a unit discount for this right here. Now, if you have salespeople that you guys want to restrict the amount that they discount, that can happen within your item definition. Please talk to your specialist on doing that. Otherwise here, what's kind of nice is that it'll do the math for you. Maybe I say I want to put a 10% discount on here. It's going to automatically do that. Or I'm going to tell that I just want to take $10 off. It's going to do the reverse for you as well. I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Now, if you wanted to do an invoice level discount, we can do that as well. That is just a setting. Again, talk to your specialist if that's something that interests you. Now, you'll note here that this warehouse is where I'm taking supply from. So if I come to the left-hand side here and I go to show stock, this is going to show me how much stock that I actually have. Not a great example that I'm using one without stock, but I'll put one with stock in there in a second. It's going to tell you what warehouse you have stock in, the available quantity, and the current quantity that you guys have right now. The available quantity means that you don't have a serial number or anything, or you don't have any sort of quantity waiting to be delivered. It's just what you actually have available for you. Whereas current quantity is you might still have that stuff in your hand. It just might be committed to someone. You can also see other things within this screen, pending POs, stock requests if you guys use that, and then orders. You could see what you have on pending order here if you guys use that order screen. So that's how you add furniture. Now, I'm going to show you what's called a linked combo. I don't think actually there's one in the system, so that'll be fun. But essentially what a linked combo is that you are asking a question as you continue this popularized thing. So if I go in and I don't think there's a link combo in here, I apologize for everybody. But if I go in and I add an account, it's going to ask me for that linked combo. I'm going to actually set up an account that has this. So give me one quick minute here. But essentially what this does is that it makes it so that you guys do not forget any sort of pop-up here for it's a pop-up that shows for your team that asks them if they want to add these particular items to that central thing. One thing I will show you while that account is loading is that you can actually see stock right within your item manager here. Now, this is helpful if you only have one warehouse, but if you have multiple warehouses, this is taking every single warehouse and combining your quantities. Unless you're restricted to a business location or a warehouse in here, it's going to tell you what you guys have. So you'll notice for this drawer chest set, it's going to go ahead and ask the quantity here, and it's going to say the available quantity as well. Now, for those who sell appliances, I'm going to come here and I'm actually going to add this Whirlpool appliance so we can see a couple things. So if I go ahead and I add this particular item here, it's going to pop up with my extended warranty. These are warranty options that your implementation specialist should help you populate for yourself. This is going to tell you what qualifies for this particular item, right? So there's price ranges sometimes with warranty. So if this item falls within the price range to allot these warranties, then you can do so. So I'm going to go ahead and add a 3-year here and then hit OK. That is not only going to add that Whirlpool dishwasher in here, but it's also going to add that extended warranty for you. Those are pop-ups that need to be set up. So again, if you have extended warranty and you sell it, you should be talking to your specialist about that. Same sort of process here, but it looks slightly different when it comes to serial numbers. So if I hit this context menu, here, it should allow me to assign serial numbers. If not, it will see a pop-up here. But here's my quantity, here's my unit price, same sort of process. Now, for those dealers who are selling to maybe construction sites that want to add more quantity for these, I can go ahead and maybe change the quantity here. If I'm selling it to just a particular customer and I don't want the 3 quantity there, I want each serialized item to show up as a different line item, you can add you can add a new line item for each serial. It's not letting me do it because I already added more on here. So just know if you're going to do that, start from the top. Another little filtered thing that you guys could put on is show cost price. This is going to show me my markup, my margin, and my profit. Now, this will not show up unless you guys actually click that button there for you. Otherwise, if I click this off and you have a customer sitting behind you, they won't be able to see all your margins and stuff. This is just for those potentially if you wanted to see it within this field. Now, this is you've set up, you have your accent table, you have your Whirlpool dishwasher, you have your extended warranty here. Another thing that's kind of cool is what's called invoice fields. This makes it so that your system can be customized to you specifically. Now, in this system, they wanted broker's contact, customs broker, and then apparently a different due date for that. These are custom fields for you guys. So you can hit this custom field. And if you have any information that you guys are used to collecting, you guys can add it right within here just by hitting that little invoice fields, adding new, and then adding a new contact. It'll go ahead and add a field that looks just like this for you. Great. I've added my sales invoices. I went ahead. This all looks complete to me. I'm going to hit pay now. Now, I don't know why, and I think it's because it didn't have serial numbers. So I'm going to actually look here for one who has serial numbers so that we can see that pop-ups show up for us. So I'm just coming into my item manager here, and I'm looking for the flag has serial numbers. This should make it so that this populates. I'm going to add this for me as well. Warranty. I don't want to add a warranty to this particular item here. And like I said, it should say assign serial numbers here as well. And then my pop-up should add serial numbers in here. Note, this is a sandbox account, so sometimes things can go freaky, but in normal accounts it will. So for this particular one in here, I'm going to sign in so we can see what my linked combo looks like. And I'll also show you what those serial numbers look like for that pop-up here. So I'm logging into this account, giving a second to load. We'll talk about the payment screen here. So everybody's payment screen is going to look slightly different only because everybody has different payment modes that they accept. Note here, when you're accepting a payment, you're going to want to pick whatever payment that they want to do, and then you can move over your pending amount. So for instance, it's very easy to split payments. So I'm going to go ahead. They paid me $500 in cash. So I'm going to put $500 in my amount section. I know that I did that because cash is standing here on the left-hand side. Now, maybe they want to pay me, $1,000 in check. Again, I can go ahead and split that. And for people who are using finance agencies, if they want to finance the rest, I'm going to hit finance agency, and then I'm going to pick how they are going to finance this. So if I put here Synchrony is how they want to finance it, they used up the limit of $550 for their particular one. So just for this customer of Ariana Grande, she's used up to $550 of this limit. And I can also add multiple on here. So GE is not a finance agency, but they just added it in here, maybe Progressive. So I could finance 2 different ones here too. And then you're just putting the amount that they want to finance. Now, if you guys are using Clover, this is how your card's going to look. If you guys are not using Clover, it's going to look more like this cash payment. But if you are using our Clover and you are integrated with us, this is how it's going to look. A couple things about this Clover integration here. One, I'm going to go ahead and move my amount over. Notice here that I didn't use my black arrow until the last payment mode that I'm using here for. That is very important. I want to emphasize that so that you guys don't have any sort of like errors or misinterpretations of that black arrow. All it's doing is taking the pending amount on the right-hand side and moving it over to the left. So if they didn't want to split this into check and cash, I could have just moved the entire thing over here. Otherwise, I'm going to go in and need to type in every single amount in all the separate ones and use my arrow on the last payment mode here. Okay, perfect. Now, if you're using Clover, this is what it's going to look like. So big thing here for Clover users. In order to save this card for a future transaction, you need to actually select this little box here. This is going to make it so that it sends to the Clover terminal. It's going to pop up a little screen on your Clover terminal and say, oh, your people want to save this card for next transaction. Is that okay? So it's giving your customers the option if you guys can save it or not. So keep that in mind as well. It will not save that token unless you guys hit this box and unless that customer confirms. So just a heads up on that. The token is good for any sort of future charges or the sales returns that you guys do. Now, you can unclick this, and you can also, that's when you guys have a token to use. All you'll do is charge card token saved on file, select the card, hit save, and you're done. But it will not populate unless you guys save those tokens. Another thing, so you're going to hit new transaction with card. You're going to select which terminal that you guys have in your hand. So if you have 6 of them, you're going to make sure that you know which terminal that you're using so that it sends to the correct one. So once you're to this screen and you have your amount on here, you select your terminal and you hit save, it's going to automatically send to your Clover terminal. I'm not going to do that today because I don't have my Clover terminal in front of me, nor do I have a card to actually charge, but just wanted to go through this. Now, one last disclaimer that I'll give you about our Clover terminal processes here is that this process card manually does not mean to process card manually on the Clover device. That means that you're manually processing this within Althea. The only reason that this card, this little button is here is because very rarely, sometimes Clover is doing something or updates on the side and it's not connecting to your Althea. If that happens, please feel free to call us and we'll talk you through and do some tests on our end. That being said, you obviously don't want the customer to be standing there waiting for Althea to kind of figure it out. So you can hit process card manually. It'll go into your same card account that it would normally. That's just to help your accountant. However, you will still need to process that card on your Clover terminal. So that'll also be a manual process. You'll have to type in the amount of what they owe you, process the card, and continue. So it just won't connect those certain different logs there for you. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to process my card manually, and that's just because I don't have a Clover terminal in front of me. So I'm back here into an account that actually has linked combos, so you can kind of see what that means. Same process here. I'm going to create my invoice in my top left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and add a random customer here. Great. Then I'm going to go ahead and just type in an item. Now, note that this is a setup account. It's going to make me select delivery mode. Oh, not what I wanted. Okay, beautiful. Got it. Note here that this is kind of set up for this particular account. So it might be a little confusing to those, but the concept I'm hoping is there, right? So we're sitting here and here's my microwave. It's going to pop up and ask me some questions. So I can make these little things say whatever I want them to. So if it's a question that you would like to present, do you have to put a 3 on the warranty to add each piece? No, you don't have to. So here you're going to select maybe a couple things, right? So for this small appliances, I believe these are install things that they're doing here. So maybe I'm going to click that they need to do this one. And then these are all my delivery options. So in this particular account, they used it for install and they also used it for delivery options. So I'm sitting here and maybe they need an extra haul away and they just need extra delivery here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. You'll see here that it went ahead and broke down all these options. Now, you'll see also that I selected that the warranty didn't populate, but that's just because this microwave didn't, go into the warranties here, but you'll get the warranty pop up and you'll also get the linked combo pop up if you set that up as well. You'll know here that when I selected all of these, so micro drill install, I didn't know what this meant, so I just selected one. You'll see that all of these are separate line items that were added for you. Essentially linked combos, just so that it pops up for your salesperson and they won't be able to move on. Now, I can make it so that those combos are mandatory for someone to pick something, or I can make it so that you can pick it if you want to, or you don't have to pick it and they can move on. Definitely up to you and how you guys would like to do this. But essentially here in this account, if I go ahead, you'll see in this one, it says assign serial number. If you guys assign serial numbers at the time of your invoice, that's how you would do it. You can also see here that I don't have any serial numbers in my system for this particular product. That could also happen for you. Now, that being said, I don't have to put a serial number on here. If I hit pay now, oh, that's why. I have to put a serial number if I put all items are delivered with invoice, but if I put delivered to shipping address here, then I can hit pay now. Once it loads, I can hit pay now. And it'll ask if I want to move on without specified serial numbers. So that's just to show you guys how to do those particular entities here. Do you have to put 3 on the warranty quantity to add to each piece? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, perfect. It should just automatically add to each one there for you. Now, are you if you're doing an extended warranty for each one, I highly recommend doing this add line for each serial number to do that for you. Then it'll go ahead and add each serialized product as a different one so that you guys can specifically see which one that you specified for. So here's my linked combo. I can hit OK and I don't have to pick one, but I can make that mandatory. But essentially what I would do is then add new line for each serial number so that you guys know for each piece, each individual warranty there for you and do it that way. So that's for that question. Okay, great. I'm going to process my card manually. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And it's going to go ahead and save that there for me. You'll notice in your invoice screen, and depending on if you're delivering from your order screen, that you'll actually have an all items deliverable column here on the left. Now, these 3 colors you guys can change, but the system colors are going to be red, green, and blue. Red means that you guys don't have enough stock to deliver those products. Blue means that you've already delivered those products, and green means that you're good to go. You're ready to, all the items in this order, in this sales invoice are ready to be delivered. I can also see each item within this list here, and I can see, oh, I do have the Whirlpool capacity dryer, but I do not have the accent table. So it'll split it up for you so the colors are itemized versus if they are all together. Another thing that you guys can do, and I highly recommend, is there's a ton of filters on the screen to help you guys search for things. So for instance, the reason that sometimes my system takes very long is like if you guys have a gajillion invoices in here, it's searching through all the different invoices that you have. So if you come in here and hit this little lightning bolt, it's going to bring up our advanced search. So if you guys only search by invoice number and customer name, then you could put customer invoice number, hit OK. And then my system will only be searching through the customer and the invoice number here. So it just kind of makes it so that Althea is not looking through all your grid views to find the specific thing that you want. It's just a tool to help speed up your system for you. Another thing that you guys can see here is that this smart little search here. Now, I highly, highly, highly recommend that anytime you guys need to refresh your system, you do it within your system. I do not recommend using your refresh button on your browser. That's just because the refresh button is refreshing the entire system. And so it might take a second to load. Whereas if I hit this little magnifying glass, it's just refreshing the screen to do any sort of update that you guys have seen this before. So you can see here also, if you guys search by customer shipping address, we can just put customer shipping address right in here, and then you can search that for you. If you do not have this checked and you're searching for someone's shipping address, it won't populate for you. It will not pop up. You can also see that the custom fields here, I can allow multiple selection if I want to create a backorder PO from here. I could also see only unreserved items or pending payment invoices is a big one for people. So if you have a pending or a payment that someone wants to do later, you can just see all the ones that are pending. If I scroll to my right here, you can see all the different money that's going on here. You can see that the payment status is pending. Now, if you use our finance agency module, that payment will pend until you receive that payment. Now, you also can what we call a balance payment mode. That's if for someone who's coming in, they can't pay everything up front. So they're going to put some money down, and then you're going to put the rest on a balance payment mode. This just makes it so that they could pay as you continue to do that for you. Here, you'll be able to see also your dispatch status. That dispatch status is for your products that you need to be delivered or picked up. It's just saying that you have pending products that are to be dispatched and partial. The reason that this says partial sometimes is because you guys have added a service item. So if you added your delivery charge as a line item, or you have your install charges as a line item, those should be service charges because we don't want to keep inventory of them. So we make them a service charge. That being said, they are technically already delivered when you save this invoice. So those install charges and those delivery charges will make your dispatch status partial. That's what that means there. Okay, I kind of splewed a ton of information at you. We have about 13 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions for me or want to see something specific? No questions for me? You guys don't have to put them in the chat too. We could just kind of chat here if you'd like. Okay, perfect. If you do have a question, I'm just going to kind of show you guys some more things within this screen. Just let me know if you have a question on anything I'm saying or anything from the past, okay? So a couple other things that you guys can see for your sales invoice screen. This context menu allows you to do some sort of things here. The last resort that we want you to do is to modify your invoice. The reason I said that is because it kind of helps your accounting. Can you explain partial payments? Okay, partial payments. So if someone comes in and wants to do a partial payment on a certain item, right? So they come in and they say, "Oh, okay, I can't pay all of this up front. I'm going to go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm looking for someone with an address. Is there a difference between the sales? Yes, there is a big difference between a sales invoice and a sales order, which I'll explain after I explain this one. So you're going to come in here and you're going to select one, your customer. Great. I'm going to sell them this drawer address thing. Perfect. I want it to be delivered. Awesome. I'm selecting this drawer. I don't have enough stock. That's fine. Great. I'm selling it for $909.96. I'm going to go ahead and hit pay now here. This is going to populate this same payment screen. So maybe he only has $500 today and wants to pay later. So there's that $500. Then I'm going to click this balance screen here. This balance screen just says that what you guys are, they're going to pay later. So you're going to originally put it on the payment mode that they are paying, and then you could put it the rest on balance. You can have a customer balance limit either be specified to individualized customers, or you can have a set balance that you're allowing everybody to pull out. So for this particular customer, he has a $100,000 balance limit. So I can then put the little arrow here for 50414. That's going to say, oh, okay, I have 500. I have a balance payment, and then I'm going to hit save. So he's going to pay me $500 later. That being said, when Alan comes back to my establishment and we don't be doing partial payments, they will have to pay the entire amount. We won't be using balance. Okay, great. Sounds good. So if you're not going to use it, that's totally fine. Otherwise, then you guys just won't be using that balance payment. For those managers who are listening to me, I can actually take that away if you'd like. So just let me know, let your implementation specialist know, and then we'll go from there. Just to kind of finish out for those people who might be using partial payments, you can then find Alan on here. There's two ways you can do this. I can either go to my receive payment screen, hit my top left corner, find Alan, and then you're going to see all the invoices that Alan owes for you. So you're going to see, okay, Alan owes me, $497 for this amount, $924 for this amount, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe he doesn't want to pay on all of these invoices. He just wants to pay on this particular one. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to say that he's going to make me a $200 payment by adjusting that pending amount. Note here that I can't change anything until I select this one that I'm going to change. So it won't let me click into this. Then it just looks like any other payment mode here. He paid cash. Great. I'm going to hit, I'm going to copy this just real quick so we can see. I'm going to go ahead and hit create, and then it'll go ahead and establish that to that invoice. Now, if I go back to my sales invoices and I look at the one that Alan paid for, I can now click into this invoice number here and see that he was originally put on balance. He paid $500 in card for this one on the 23rd. He paid $500 on the 24th via check, and that check number there. And then now he paid $200 in cash. So it'll keep every single one of those payments there for you. Now, for those who don't take payments later, that's totally fine. You're still going to have a partial or a pending payment if you use finance agencies. So that being said, you can just easily, receive those payments from a finance agency as well. You're going to go to receive payments. You're going to receive payments from finance agency, whatever finance agency you're receiving it from. If it's Synchrony, all the ones that have Synchrony on them are going to populate. And then you're going to tell Althea, okay, I received my $200, my $500 via an ACH payment from them. Great. And I'm going to hit create. So that'll also then change those particular invoices that Synchrony paid you so that they're not pending anymore. All right, Alan, for your question, the difference between a order and a sales invoice. So your orders looks very similar. However, you're not taking that tax liability until you create it into an invoice. You are also not required to hit pay now and put some sort of payment on here. That being said, when I hit that top left corner, my order looks very similar. I have requested delivery date here on the right instead of a due date. Same sort of, I have a status in order instead of a not like you don't have a status in an invoice. Whereas in an order, I could say, special ordered, back ordered, PO received in inventory. These are user fields that are put in by this particular user of this account. So he went in and he created all these different statuses. That's definitely something that you guys can do also. This just makes it so you guys can see color wise where the status of this order is. Picking order contents, order need to be scheduled, order on schedule, etc. How does it know that the financing has paid, or how does it know that he paid via finance, Angela? I apologize. I will answer your question in a second, but let me know. Okay, perfect. Yes. Another thing about orders here. So there's that status. It looks very similar. You'll have that same sort of delivery options if you decide to deliver from order. If not, then you will not have those options on the side or on the top there for you. Also, same process. I can add items here, however many I want to add, that chest of drawer. You'll notice if you have that setting on, it won't matter until it turns into an invoice. This is just my system giving me a heads up and putting these on here for that there. Now, you can also see that you do not have a pay now button in orders. You have a receive deposit button. So I can come in here, receive a deposit. I have to select a customer. Okay, perfect. I can receive a deposit. And then it looks like the same sort of screen. Now, it would come in here and you can go here that you're selecting one of these. I'm going to go ahead and say that she paid in card. Now, if I want to take the entire section here and take the whole pending amount, I don't have to even touch this and just move this over to here. Now, if you guys want to take a partial payment as a deposit, so if you're ordering this and do that there, you could do from here. A quote you cannot take payment on, whereas an order you can take a deposit on. A quote will also not reserve any sort of inventory here. So the nice thing about orders is that if I actually assigned serial numbers in here, it'll reserve that quantity for me. Quotes also won't tell you that you have a short quantity, whereas orders will tell you that someone has ordered this, you guys need to order that. So I can hit here, I can hit receive deposit. I can move this amount over to cash, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit save. You'll see here, I have my 2 chateau drawers in 2 different colors, and then this deposit amount here for me. What's nice about orders compared to sales invoices is that it's also very malleable. So I'm going to hit create here. And now for some reason, if Alan's like, oh, my wife decided not to get the second cherry orchard one, I can come in, modify this order, and it's not going to affect my payment. I need to actually do something with my payment in order to do so. So if I go in and I remove this vintage cherry chest, it's going to tell me that my pending amount is negative $7.59 because that's what I owe to my customer since I removed this product for me. So that's really easy to do. You can then go ahead and return deposit to your customer. So I'm going to go ahead and return deposit. I'm going to say which deposit I'm going to return. I could put a note here, no longer wants the cherry. Great. And then I'm going to go ahead and return that deposit to my customer there of $759.64. And so that's for those people who have that accounting access here. And you can go from there. And it'll go ahead and add that on there format. So you returned that item and then I can update this. So it's just a little bit more malleable for you. Another thing, Alan, on the other side, if I go to show consolidated item list, this is going to tell me every single product that I'm short for. This is a little different than invoices because orders is built for those who have a lot of special order products or those who are back ordering a lot of products for their people or those who want to deliver before they invoice. So they don't have that tax liability there for you. So if I uncheck this show consolidated item list here and I come to this order and I go view financial transactions, it's going to tell me, this is my petty cash account. Here's my deposit account. I went ahead and debited this and I credited this. And then you can see here for my deposit return and my deposit account, I debited that 761 and that 761 back to that petty cash account. So you'll see there for you. It's just set up for a lot of people to create back order POs here. Now, I see a lot of people not even use my orders because people are like, I invoice before I deliver, or I don't have a lot of products. I have a lot of stock products in here. Perfect. Great. You don't have to use orders. It's just kind of nice to keep your book slightly cleaner. Once I go ahead and I convert this into an invoice, it's going to pull up that same exact thing that I put in my order here. It's going to show my drawers. I'm going to hit pay now. And now this deposit account is going to populate for me. That is the only time you guys will get a deposit payment mode added. So it's going to take that 1,087. It's going to say it was already available in that deposit. And now I hit save. So you'll know that this has been invoiced because on the right-hand side here, it'll say invoiced. Maybe he has the little thing off, but there's usually, depending on your grid customization, I could see if it has been invoiced or not. Also here, I can see that it's turned blue, which is like a very clear, you've invoiced this. So I'm going to go into my sales invoices here and I'll show you those transactions and how it went for that. You'll see here that it starts to go into your tax accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this context menu and I'm going to view financial transactions. You'll see here that it went ahead and it debited that deposit account. It credited your sales account, and then it went ahead and credited those sales tax accounts. So those tax accounts will not get hit until it's turned into an invoice. So that's up to you on how you guys want to do that. Again, just another fancy feature about orders is that it'll give you not only the show item list where you can see everything, you can see your short quantities of, but also for this consolidated item list, it's going to take everybody's order on everything and show you what you need to order for everybody. So once you have your preferred supplier set up, I can hit allow multiple selection and I can actually create a back order PO here for those specified items. So I can create that back order PO, which we weren't going over today, but just fun little thing here. Yes, I will add the link somewhere for you guys. If you guys want this specific recording, talk to your implementation specialist. But for my specific client, I will put it in your checklist for you as well. So you'll see here that this is back ordered and it's back ordered for this specific client. What's also nice about orders is that if you have an appliance company and you're ordering these appliances for those specific people, when you guys receive those items with those serial numbers, that serial number is going to auto allocate to your order. Then you can turn into an invoice and deliver if you guys do that workflow for you. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate everybody here. I apologize if I talk too fast, trying to get through everything. This recording will be available somewhere. I would talk to your implementation specialist and they will get it to you. If you are one of my clients, just let me know and I will give it to you as well. Otherwise, any other questions that you guys have from here, please go over it with your training and your implementation specialist, call our support line or our email there for you. Otherwise, I hope everybody has an amazing rest of their day. And I am signing off for the day. I do have another meeting right after this. So thank you guys so much. And we look forward to hearing to you.